apathetic enthusiasm.
They coming to you live from the speculation capital of the multiverse. We will cover the episode titles today, or maybe we won't. Will we? I don't know. Maybe we will, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you will find out on Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty speculation of episode titles podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon, and welcome to Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. Yes, the podcast, probably the longest consecutive running Rick and Morty podcast. And don't fact check us.
It's 2020. We don't fact check things.
On the air today, yes, we're talking about Rick and Morty, and there's a few ways that I know that you're itching to find out how you can get a hold of us. Travis, let me take this on. I never get to do this part, and it's
all right. I'm just gonna kick back and relax. You let me know when these social media links are out of the way.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Knuckle crack, knuckle crack, knuckle crack. All right. You can find us over at RickandMortyPodcast.reddit.com. You can also go to RickandMorty.reddit.com, where I sometimes moderate, sometimes not. Oh, hey, I found something in semi-pertinent news. Twitter.com/RickandMortyPod, www.RickandMortyPod.com. Hey, that's our website. Facebook.com/RickandMortyPodcast, RickandMortyPodcast@gmail.com if you prefer email. YouTube.com, Apathetic Enthusiasm if you want to watch us live every week when there's an actual episode coming on. Twitch.tv, Apathetic Enthusiasm, also if you prefer that. And if you want to support this show financially and you want to see me and Travis eating a pickle, courtesy of art by Daticus, or you want to just get an Interdimensional RSS logo, head over to TeePublic, tpublic.com/stores/interdimensional-RSS, or you know what, never mind that, go to patreon.com/RickandMortyPod. We sincerely appreciate everybody's support, financially or just your beautiful presence. It means a lot. And with that, that's our show. I want to say thank you to Travis. All right.
You did a great job, Brandon. How did it feel? How did it feel rattling off all of those social media links?
God, it needs to be more clinical. I need to be more clinical about it.
I will tell you that the Google form that we are using to generate our episode outlines, it doesn't format the social media in the way that I have broken it up on other forms of our outlines. And I gotta tell you, those breaks, they really help out. But you're doing a great job.
I can change the template up.
No, we'll talk. We'll go back and we'll talk with our people. We'll see how you did.
Okay.
It was a good try. But guys, we're back. Thank you guys. We've had a bit of a hiatus. The world is a little upside down right now, but thankfully we have new Rick and Morty to look forward to, and that's why we're here. Yeah, this is a little bit of a primer episode, getting ready for 5 more episodes, and we'll get into them in detail. Well, not in real detail, in pure speculative detail. Over in the main thing, but it's good to be back. It's good to be in this mode. We've been in that apathetic enthusiasm mode so long. Like we got to get used to structure. We got to get used to doing things the right way, and the way that we do things right on this podcast is by starting with semi-pertinent news.
Semi-pertinent news. It's semi-pertinent news. Coming to you live. It's semi-pertinent news. Live. If you're listening to this.
Live to tape. It's semi-pertinent news. And with the show coming back, with people getting geared up and excited, there are semi-pertinent things worth discussing. You hinted at this earlier, Brandon, but as a subreddit moderator, as one of your part-time hobbies, Anything happen over on the old subreddits this week?
Yeah, can I just say this about being a moderator of the subreddit? I yeah, it's like in name only, in permission set only. I don't actually do anything for them until this coming weekend. Um, those guys out there and women are doing just a fantastic job. Just every single day, going through and weeding out some of the scum and villainy
You will
of
never find a more wretched hive.
so I want to give a shout out to the folks who actually moderate that stuff, because it's not an easy job necessarily.
By the way, that's definitely not true because the Mortytown sub is a definitely more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah,
But no, all Rick and Morty fans are great, and we love you
that's right.
equally, except for the ones that we love more.
Uh,
But what happened? What happened?
well, there was an AMA this last Friday on 24 April with Carrie. Oh crap! Sorry, Carrie Walgren, who plays Jessica.
Jessica.
Carrie. Yeah, she did an AMA, and I was actually at work for most of the AMA, so I did moderate, but you were actually in there for a good portion of it. What did you see? What did you glean from the AMA that day?
So I hopped in the AMA early. If you're a fan of Apathetic Enthusiasm, you know that we did a bit of a challenge in this last month where we were building puppets. Make sure you check out Apathetic Enthusiasm for any other information on that, because I refuse to go into any more detail. But yeah, so I was hard at work making a puppet during the AMA, but I jumped in very early and caught what was almost zero Rick and Morty related material. There were a bunch of people on there asking some good questions, and she was. It sounded like she was having a little bit of technical difficulties like early on in the AMA.
Mhm.
But yeah, like lots of really good questions about other roles that she's been in, or other work that she's done. So I don't know. Like it seemed like a lot of people were very invested in it, but not when I had hopped in. Not a whole lot of Rick and Morty type stuff. Did you go back in and scour the sub the post the AMA for any
No,
other info?
no. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't. I meant to, but then I just got caught up, trying to search Amazon for 4 hours for just a packet of salt. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't go back, but my biggest question coming out of it was like it's awesome that she came to do an AMA in the subreddit. Um, Jessica, who's been in 5, 6 episodes total. Um, and
Is that
not
really it? It feels like so many more than that.
Yeah, it probably could be more, but um, not necessarily. She's a huge presence in Morty's life, obviously, but she's not always kind of she's still a secondary character, very very much so. It was interesting to me to hear or find out um, what she would get out of the Rick and Morty subreddit, the AMA, and what kind of questions she would be asked from that. And from what you had told me, it was like a bunch of other stuff, which is also great, right? Because Royland came in and talked about Trover that one time.
Right. Yeah. I'm scrolling back through it now too, and lots of questions about getting into voice acting, getting into like voiceover work in general, which is pretty good. Some random stuff like just what how are you holding up during this COVID-19 stuff, or what are some favorite, I think it was like favorite DC characters or what is your favorite DC hero that you would want to do the voice of, things like that. So yeah, not a ton of Rick and Morty related news, but definitely some semi pertinent news for sure.
Very, very, very semi pertinent. Speaking of semi pertinent, I guess that's because that's a segment we're in. Longtime friend of mine for the last 2 years, and sometimes friend of the show, Omar. He sent me a video probably about last month. I would say when coronavirus was kicking off, and this was it's been a while since I've watched it, but it's a fan made video where a bunch of different pop culture icons come together. The Avengers, Shaggy from Scooby Doo, One Punch Man is there.
One Punch Man. I'm trying to think of other characters that were in the video.
John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick was in there. Spider-Man, Superman was in there as well. Just a ton of
a host of heroes from different. I think was the Terminator in there.
He was. Yeah. The kid, my 8-year-old, was like, "What's a Terminator? Was Shaggy? This is
it's blowing his mind."
Which let me just say that he said the Terminator and Shaggy, and he knew both of those characters. So I think I'm doing all right in the dad.
Doing an all right job.
But the reason this is semi-pertinent to Rick and Morty is because, well, Rick and Morty were also in this fan-made video, fighting with everybody else against the coronavirus. And it's about 11-minute video, and really, really very well done. I guess this site, and I don't have it in front of me. They do a lot of different videos like this. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it was interesting. Like, the coronavirus was represented by these giant, like, monster-sized, virus balls that were attacking, and Rick sort of became the leader, trumping even like Tony Stark and making a fool out of him, and in a very Rickish sort of way. Trying to show folks what they should be doing and rally them around on how to defeat this coronavirus.
That's right. It was very, very good. If I had one critique, okay, I have two critiques. If I have two critiques, one at the very end of the video, I was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty good," and then they misspell a single word on the title card, and I'm like, "You're doing so good. You were doing so good, and you spelled a word wrong."
Yeah, the devil is in the details on that one. You can't have the flashy animation and then miss which I've probably misspelled interdimensional 100 times in this show. So it happens.
It happens. And then the second thing, which is more pertinent here to us, is that I'm not saying that we have people in the chat talking about, like, do you do any impressions and voiceover work? Whoever they had doing the Morty and the Rick in this, would they not top-notch voiceover imitation work of Rick and Morty?
I'll admit that put me off a little bit at the start of this, or at the start of the video.
But even you, I think, could at least pull off a halfway decent Morty. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, I can't.
By the way, that's
jeez, Rick. No.
Oh, jeez.
There it is. That's the sound. Yeah, no. I don't have that sound, I don't think.
You gotta go.
I don't know, Rick. Yeah, no, I don't. Moving on. We
gotta move on. It's not because we gotta get into the main thing, right? And before we get to the main thing, we have a segment, a sub-segment to semi-pertinent news that the fans call the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Dan stuck in his house with the rest of us. Okay, so Dan Harmon on the social internet pretty much sticks to Instagram these days. He and his fiance are stuck at home. I mean, safe at home, along with the rest of us as we try to bend that coronavirus curve. And if you remember, Dan was doing a lot of woodworking at his new house, and the most recent post from Dan is a bit of a tour around his workshop, where he has built many various work tables, but no work chairs. So this video is Dan turning an extra table into a chair. He's got too many tables, too many, but he's got it. So it's sort of like a slideshow. He's and then there's some stop motion, or not stop motion, time lapsing, and before you know it, he has taken apart the table and assembled it into a functional chair.
Hey.
So there you go, guys. It's hashtagged Heller Harmon Bunker Day ! Function over form. Yeah, he's still working. He's fine. If you want to see pictures of his woodworking shop or pictures of his dogs humping each other, make sure to follow Dan Harmon over on Instagram. And this has been the Social Media Minute.
Woo! Hey, good job, Travis. You did that effortlessly.
You're welcome. Yeah, I did it. It was like I had it planned all along.
We're trying to get back in the thick of things,
guys. It's good to be back. But if you are a diehard Interdimensional RSS listener, then maybe you don't listen to Apathetic Enthusiasm, the podcast that we do pretty much any week that Rick and Morty is not on the air, and that is such a free flowing, like loose improvisational feel type of show that we're getting back into it. We're getting. This is why we have this episode, so that by next week when the new shows come on, we will be ready to go. It's like the dress rehearsal,
ramped up.
And what dress rehearsal would be complete? Wait, no dress rehearsal would be complete without the main thing.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. It's the main thing. Dun 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 dun. And I have to stick my teeth out.
3 hours later, Brandon is still doing that song.
Like doing like a Fish jam band type thing. Anyway, it's the main thing.
It's the thing. That's the main thing.
It's the main thing. I said the main thing in that thing. The main thing about this main thing is last before the first 5 episodes of season 4 came out, we got the episode titles, and then we did an entire episode about episode titles, speculation, some of the trailers, right? And we kind of broke that down. And although we're not necessarily breaking down a trailer this time around, we figured, leading into the last half of season 4, let's talk about
what year is it, Brandon? What season are we on?
I don't know.
6 seasons in a movie.
So let's talk about these episode titles, and throw out any rampant speculation. And it doesn't, what we did last time was talk about like thematically, like what those episodes might be about. And then, at the end of the season, we'll look back and we'll say, yeah, Brandon was completely wrong again.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Yeah. I want to give a special shout out to Tentronic, Matthew over on Twitter, who, as you were tweeting about the impending season, actually asked, like, hey, are you guys going to do an episode speculating about episode titles? And you were like, yeah, we should probably do that. So really, it's his fault that we're doing this episode. So thank you, Matthew, for for convincing us to do this.
At Tentronic on Twitter if you want to follow him. Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and break this
Not an
down.
endorsement. I'm not endorsing the guy. I'm just
Yeah,
saying it's his fault. Yeah. Let's get through the. Let's get started with these episode titles. Brandon, what do we got first?
First up, it's the Never Ricking Morty. Not the. You don't need the. It's Never Ricking Morty.
Never Ricking Morty.
Oh God, that reminds me of Stranger Things season 3. Unbearable. Yeah, Never Rick and Morty. This one we know is directed by Erica Hayes, and we'll get into why we know that in a little bit. But and no, it's not a special. She's coming on the show to talk to us or anything. It's much more mundane.
Not for lack of trying.
But yeah, directed by Erica Hayes. As far as I can tell, Travis, this is based off of the Never-Ending Story.
And my goodness, I hope you're right. I want this. I so badly want this to be like a Jerry episode, because I feel like so far in the season we haven't had like a very Jerry centric type, moment or like episode that was really about him. I mean, he had his floating shoes. That was a thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like
him and a cat.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he even those B plots were pretty minor though. Like I don't know. Some sort of fantasy type world. Maybe this is like akin to Morty's first adventure, where they go exploring through fantasy type areas. I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mentioned the cat episode / the dragon episode, and when we watched that, I remember thinking when Morty is riding the drag Balthamar, and he's like, yeah, that it was very Never Ending Story ish, right?
Right.
And I think IGN or Nerdist or one of those sites was like, maybe this will be the return of the cat. Maybe the cat will return in this episode. The cat that was meant to be a joke.
The Matthew Broderick cat.
Yeah. I'm not subscribing to that theory at all. But I wonder, as far as the aesthetic of the dragon piece, if they're going to have anything like that in this episode.
Yeah, a Rick and Morty style luck dragon would be pretty phenomenal. I would really love seeing that. I think that would be terrific. Yeah, and maybe so we got to get in the headspace, right, of these shows, these episodes. Sometimes the titles are like right on the nose, and sometimes they're loosely related. So other possible options here, maybe something book related or something with some sort of library or something where or some maybe it's a series of stories where they're like traveling through book themes or something like that. So it sort of has that nod to Never Ending Story, but maybe they play through a bunch of different IPs or something like that. I don't know.
Similar to the Futurama episode where they're fighting the brains, and in order to trick the brains, they keep jumping into other books, and then eventually Fry defeats them by writing just a really, really stupid story.
Yeah, which is very possible. And Rick and Morty as well. All right. Anything else to say on the Never Ricking Morty episode?
No, I mean, it has to end. This episode has to end. So
yeah.
I'm not. I like the Never Ending Story, but I'm not. Other than Atreyu, and him going through like the where like the statues will kill you if you're not pure of heart or whatever. I wonder if that might be a thing.
Let's level with me, Brandon. You're a kid. You were checking out the boobs on those statues, weren't you?
No,
Right?
man, no.
You were. You were.
I was already watching porn at that time. I don't need no statues on no boob. You know, if we talk about stuff I was watching when I was that age, when Neverending Story was out, I was watching heavy metal with my uncle. Have you seen?
Okay. No, I have not.
Oh man, so many boobs,
All
so
right.
many Tarna and the Lochnar. You know, watch it, everybody.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Glowing endorsement for Brandon. And these episode titles are in order, correct? These are the order of the episodes in the series, right?
As far as I know, this
Yeah.
is the order they were announced anyway.
So then next up we have Promortius, and you have written next to this one the Alien episode, because yeah, if it's, I mean, we would assume that is a Prometheus nod, right? So probably something in the genre of Aliens,
Yes,
and
yes.
we saw a lot of clips in the uh, season 4B trailer with a lot of like alien type stuff and face hugger type aliens and things like that. If going out on a limb, I would possibly assume that this is that episode.
Yeah, I would go out on that same limb. I want to mention that Dr. Clark over on Twitter, he mentioned that he is looking forward to Primordius the most, as because the sad decline of the alien universe since Aliens has disheartened him. He wants that lambasted to the hills by Harmon and Royland. Um, and I responded with, I'm kind of a Prometheus apologist, and that I do in Alien Covenant as well. That I actually do like those movies, but if you take your expectations back a little bit. But anyway, regardless of that, it is called Primordius and not necessarily Alien. Any kind of things related to Alien. Prometheus was an Alien prequel, but Ridley Scott, the director who directed the original Alien as well, he was trying to like kind of make an Alien movie, but not really. He was trying to go off in his own direction and create this whole uh, in the shared Alien universe, but not an Alien story. And he kind of went off the rails, and he gave up with Alien Covenant to get back into an actual Alien prequel. But
Yep.
Prometheus was much more about like the start of life and how was life created, and those kind of larger questions about where we come from and who created humanity and gods and science. That's what I think I would like to see out of this episode. Of
Yep.
course, with comedy and probably boobs. Hopefully, there's boobs in there. You got me on the boobs train. Now I just want to
Sorry.
see boobs.
Sorry. Well, maybe there'll be a streak of chest features here in these 5 episodes for you, Brandon. Yeah, that idea of the start of life or things like that could definitely be a twist on this title where it doesn't end up being a straight alien episode, and it could be something a little bit different. And because some of these other episode titles and the way that trailer kind of is all pieced together, I have other thoughts. There's other options here. Next up, we.
But the last thing I want to say about
Okay.
Primordius, directed by our friend Brian Jordan Newton.
The man, friend of the podcast, Brian.
Yeah. That's his episode. What's next? What's next on the slate?
Next up, we have the very uniquely named "The Vat of Acid" episode. This is a unique episode title because if you spend as much time thinking about titles as we do, typically they have either Rick or Morty or some combination of the two, some sort of character name infused into it with a terrible pun. But this is just the Vat of Acid episode. What are your initial thoughts on this one, Brandon?
Yeah. it what strikes me about the title of this episode is that there's no Rick and Morty pun whatsoever. It's very straightforward. It's a bad acid episode. Like they're like, let's not try to be cute with this. Let's just name it something. Now there was the Rick Landis mix up of season 3 that turned into Tales of from the Citadel. Um, and so there's part of me that's like, yes, it's a vat of acid, but is the whole episode going to be about that? Is this a way for them to do a very interdimensional cable slash Morty's mind blowers type of clip show episode?
Yeah, Philip Marks in the chat says that this is a bottle episode where they remember past hijinks. That's his thought on it. So, and which we haven't had that kind of loose improvisational feel bottle type episode, any sort of thing like that so far in the season. This could be an opportunity for them to do something different, not the typical A plot, B plot, but more of a clip show type episode. Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah,
That could be cool.
because I mean, what like these other episodes, we could be like thematically these things could follow. Like if they're using these movies as a reference, then okay, we can go kind of go down this path. There's really nothing to go on with a Vat of Acid episode, unless we're talking about Breaking Bad season 1 in a bathtub with Walter White.
Some of these other comments are it's an anagram for Jessica's feet. And Rick mentions Vat of Acid in the trailer. Tampa Geek calling that out. I don't recall that. I probably should have watched the trailer just before we did this podcast, but we were busy recording a different podcast. So, yeah, not much else to go on that one. So
Nope.
let's move on to the 4th episode title, which is Childrick of Mort.
Yes. This one, if you don't know, there's a movie that came out in the mid to late 2000s called Children of Men, starring Clive Owen, where it's a post-apocalyptic world and also a really great one shot, which actually isn't actually one shot. It's broken up into two, but it's still a long shot. It's really great. Post-apocalyptic world where people can't have kids anymore, and then eventually they find out there is somebody who can have a kid, and Clive Owen is protecting her, trying to get her to safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very very Last of Us ish.
That was a great movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah, let's watch it right now.
All right, that's our show, guys. We're gonna go watch Children of Men.
Now, so now let's bring it back into Rick and Morty world. Okay, let's bring it back into where it belongs, Travis. What situation could Rick and Morty find themselves in where there's a that like what is a theme that would apply to the show?
I mean, you could do very basic where they end up on some random planet where there's a race of aliens that can't breed anymore. Maybe you bring back some Gazorpians or something. I don't know. You could do a lot of things. And or maybe I like the idea of like Morty somehow being impregnated by some sort of alien, and then Rick having to protect Morty from while he gestates, and I don't know, maybe he's got mega seeds on the line or something, and he's got a reason to make sure that Morty stays safe in it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, you're postulating. You're throwing shit at the wall. It doesn't matter because you're going to be wrong. No matter what we say here, we're going to be wrong. You know what? This is the Evil Morty episode, and it's Childrick of Mort because everybody is basically Evil Morty's or President Morty's follower now, and
Okay.
in a sense, they're all his children. much in the way that Freddy Krueger, when he kills everybody, and then later in the series, he's like, "Oh, you're all my children," and then he opens his shirt and there's like little boils of people's souls that are just like into his chest, and then he eats one, and then it's like a pepperoni pizza. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's like that.
Could be. You could have it. You could be spot on the money. It's a pepperoni pizza episode. What? Now I was trying to see if there's any other comments that we got about that one. I don't think we did. So that leaves us with one other episode. The episode title that I'm particularly fond of, and that is Starmort Return of the Jerry. You wrote "Who knows" next to this one. Why do you not like get the reference in that title?
No. Here, over on IGN, let me just say, IGN made the same joke. They're like, we don't have any idea what this title could mean, and somebody in the comments said, it's clearly Return of the Jedi. and nobody else responded to this person, because why would you respond to that? You're like, yeah, that's it's the dude who plays McBain in The Simpsons. That's the joke. That gif. I'll find a gif later. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Return of the Jerry, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and if you think back to the trailer, the lightsaber fight between uh, uh, Summer and Tammy. Do you think this is the episode where we actually get that sort of? I mean, if these are in order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is maybe the season finale, then do we think, yeah, this is maybe the big finale? Maybe Phoenix person comes back. There's a big fight between the Galactic Federation or whatever, the Gronfalmites. Well, they're gone, but Tammy still could be working for them. It's some sleeper cell or some sort of crazy
Yeah.
hijink, something like that.
In the trailer, you got Summer fighting Tammy with the lightsabers, well, at least what look like lightsabers, right? So that very well could be this episode. What strikes me as kind of odd is that if this is the fifth episode, and we've talked about this before, we talked about this on the last episode. If we're to assume that not all of the episodes were shown in that trailer, and this is the fifth episode, then what are we missing? Because it didn't feel like there was more than 2-3 episodes in that trailer, right? Right.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was distracted. Yeah, so when we did a sort of breakdown of the trailer, there looked like it was mostly one major episode, and there were only maybe a couple of references in there that felt like they definitely had to be in other episodes. So I think some of these titles are to things that we haven't seen any clips of yet. But I I don't know if those, like, if certain stuff looks like it should be together or not, because when we were talking about the Prometheus episode, some of those clips seem to tie into the same episode. That, like, if that's an Aliens episode, which I was referencing earlier, then some of those clips seem to tie into like the Summer Tammy stuff. So I'm not sure. Like, are those all clips from this Starmort Return of the Jerry, or are these from Prometheus episodes?
Yeah. Good question. Good question. What if the twist is they're all from the same episode? Every single one of them, in that trailer is actually from the same episode. A bunch of different scenes in the climactic end, all happening at a similar time. Who knows? Who knows? Uh, so, um, yeah, this is the last one. Obviously, Return of the Jedi. That's when we finally see the Emperor in all his glory before Rise of Skywalker.
Do you think that could be a nod to an Evil Morty return as well, or?
Yeah, but possibly. Maybe the Phantom Menace. if it was like the Rick Mortis.
Maybe we can get a Jar Jar Binks type character in this episode. There's so much to play with that Star Wars. I'm sure they would have to be like very vague with some of the references, because I doubt they got permission to use any really legit like Star Wars IP. I mean, maybe they did, but I'm not banking on it. So yeah.
It would be like Chomp Baka.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at some of these other fan thoughts that you've got here in the chat. Anything that we didn't cover?
Yeah. Craig Dietrich on Twitter. A lot of these are from Twitter. Doing a bit about not taking one's helmet off on alien planets seems like a softball they have to hit. That's from Prometheus. Obviously, a dig at that. At RNG Thoughts, can't tell by the titles, but if any of them have a vat of acid in it, it's guaranteed to be an instant classic Rick and Morty episode or Batman movie.
Yeah. Sure. Somebody in chat earlier mentioning that vat of acid could be a Harley Quinn Joker origin story if they chose to do that. Okay. Thank you to Erica Hayes, Brian Newton, Ryan Elder for all chiming in the Twitter conversation as we were talking about these episodes. Ryan Elder really excited about these episodes. He says he's psyched for all of us to see these, some of his all-time favorite episodes coming up this month. So he's the conductor on that hype train, just barreling down the track.
I didn't even get to make that. Good joke, man. Good joke. He's a conductor and he's a conductor. Damn it! I'm gonna go back and follow him.
You're gonna go tweet that to him now.
Yeah. Erica Hayes and Brian, they were responding to Dr. Clark when they talk about Primordius, and Brian asked if Erica did that one. Oh no. Dr. Clark asked if Erica did that one. She said, "Nope, I did Never Rick and Morty and Star Mort Return of the Jerry." Brian, was Primordius you? He responded, "Yep." Is Never Rick and Morty the one I think it is? And she said, "I do believe so, yes." Lol.
The cryptic conversations in our Twitter threads.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm really intrigued by what that actually means. Same thing like when Snake Jazz was coming out, everyone was like, has the best song of season 4, right? And Snake Jazz is the one that we're all still talking about.
Yeah, which I don't know if we talked about, but Snake Jazz now available on Spotify and wherever you get your streaming music from. They released a clean single of it, so don't miss it.
Yeah, that's right. And Elder is pumped about these last couple episodes. He says some of his all-time favorite episodes are coming up this month, so totally stoked about that. And then finally, Jeff Loveness wrote 3 of the 5 episodes. He was kind of hanging out in that whole thread between Erica and Brian. I want to mention this last little bit, and I got a bamboo stick in my hand because he wrote 3 of the 5. That's kind of interesting to me. He wrote 1 or 2 of the first 5, and maintaining kind of like a coherency of writing, I think is interesting. I wonder if that will have any kind of if that means any kind of serialized through line from his perspective, or maybe not from his perspective, but kind of hidden underneath, maybe not necessarily out and about. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, and that's an interesting theory, because it could explain why in the trailer for the second half of the season, it felt like we were only seeing like one episode. Is what if they do go out on a limb here and actually serialize some of these episodes and have like a flowing storyline through multiple, some sort of big epic thought that where they spend the same 3 episodes on the same planet or something, like trying to find Phoenix Person, or trying to do, maybe the stories are, related but not exactly the same. That, there's a lot of good options there. That could explain why he was a writer on all three. Also, it could just be that they were scrambling to get these episodes out, and they're like, "You write these 3."
Yeah, maybe so. Write these 3 before you go on to writing Ant-Man 3.
Yeah. Huge shout out and congrats to him for writing for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, assuming movies ever come back.
Yes, in 2026.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those are the thoughts. Those are our initial thoughts as far as those episode titles.
Apopsychic and sideasms.
But we, yep, the season starts Sunday. We'll be there. You'll be there. Let's make sure we keep in touch, and send us your thoughts throughout the week. We'll be here. I'm teleworking, so I have much more time to be on Twitter full
Yeah,
time.
I'll probably do some sort of post episode chat, at least over at twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. So that is what our Twitch is, right? Yep, still is. Good. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna charge Brandon to staying up that late. I know he's a sleepy guy, but maybe we'll hang out at least for the first episode and have a post show reaction for that. So excited for the show coming back. Excited for new episodes to talk about, and excited for you guys to join us along the way for all of that. Speaking of you guys, it is now time for our final segment: listener suggestions and short outs.
No song needed.
No song needed. The first one is from the Grant Ramos. Got bored with this quarantine, so I made a talking Mr. Steely box.
Yes.
With a link to a tweet.
This talking Mr. Steely box, yeah. Basically, Mr. Steely is there, and then you go up, you press a button, and then he's like, "Got some bobbish," and then you press.
Let me see if I can play the sound here for a second.
Okay. I mean,
it's pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet on my end, but
I got it.
We got a bag of bobbish. That's 8 grapples.
Good old Steely.
That's it. It's there's more, but every time he presses a button, Steely says something else. So that's really awesome. So thanks for sending that to us, Grant.
It's a solid quarantine project. You could have much worse quarantine projects, and quarantine does weird things to people. So yeah, but thank you for sharing that with us, Grant. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and then speaking of sending things to us, at Kay Hemmings, she sent us a nifty little doodle, a nice cute little doodle, and we won't talk about this on the podcast because it's a doodle. It's not a Steely noisemaker, but
doodles don't translate as well in audio form.
But it's a 4-panel comic. And it's well done. So thank you, Kay Hemmings, for shooting that to us.
Yeah, put it in the show notes, Brandon. Put it in the show notes.
I will, Trav.
Right. Go to the show notes and check out the doodle.
We do have folks reaching out to us on Instagram and on Facebook, and on email periodically, and we want to make sure that that we appreciate you, and we sent out a tweet last week, just periodically being like, hey, we care about you, and we appreciate you listening. I got an email from this gentleman who is a staple in the horror host world. I've been trying to get on my Twilight Zone podcast for a long time, But he sent me an email on Thursday, and most times when you get an email from somebody, especially like somebody who's like trying to get you to watch one of their series, it's like a canned response of like, check out my show, Last Drive-In on Shudder on Friday, April something something.
April something something.
And not personalized whatsoever. But Joe Bob Briggs sent an email to me, and he's like, "Hey Brandon, yeah, glad it was good to be out there in Tampa for the convention and blah blah blah, and hopefully I can get back out there. But this virus has done some stuff to it. But and my Last Drive-In season 2 is starting tomorrow. Really appreciate if you can stop in and say hi or whatever." And even though I'm like, yeah, I mean, you don't actually know who I am, and you might not ever actually remember. If like I went up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm Brandon Cruz," you'd be like, "Who?" Doesn't matter. Like, even if you spent like 10, 15 seconds looking at a previous email and be like, "Oh, okay, this guy's in Tampa," it still was just enough to like, oh, yeah, he appreciates me enough to put at least a little bit of time towards us. And that's how we feel about That's how we feel about you, the listener. You guys are awesome, and we don't say it enough over these last 60 years of covering Rick and Morty. But you're the fucking best. So
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Thank you for coming back to the show as we get ready for the home stretch of season 4. Looking forward to many more episodes and seeing what the creators have made in these last 5. And like, I think, where did I hear it? I heard it. Dan Harmon was talking about it somewhere, but he was like already working on season 6, like writing season 6 stuff for Rick and Morty. So, guys, I think the long waits, the really long waits, the like year-long waits are over on this show. And it's exciting that, yeah, even though we got to wait a little while, we have more episodes to be excited for. So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, Brandon, anything else before next week?
No,
are you ready?
No,
are you feeling ready for this?
I feel this was important for us. And hey, I guess this will be the last thing I say before we leave. This is episode 95 of the Rick and Morty podcast. Okay, we have 5 episodes to go before the end of season 4. Guess what happens on the fucking finale of season 4? We hit our 100th episode. Could not be more excited for that. I didn't think we'd get to 184 episodes of Apathetic Enthusiasm. I don't actually know if it's that many, but I definitely didn't think we'd get to 100 episodes.
100 episodes of this podcast. Yeah, no, we need to do something big. Definitely a big party for the finale. Socially distanced party, of course. But yeah, we'll have to celebrate when that happens. But we gotta watch some Rick and Morty. Make sure you're following those social platforms. If you're not on our Twitter, things like that. I will be rewatching the first 5 episodes of season 4 this week. Probably posting some stuff about them throughout the week. So if that's your plan as well, let's talk about those episodes throughout the week as we gear up for the final half of the season. All right, Brandon, play that music. Get us on out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're watching live, stay tuned because we're going to have a post show just for you live watchers. If you're not watching live, show up on Monday night and watch the live show. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And until next time, I'm Travis.
And I'm Brandon.
Goodbye.
Bye. Are they gone? Are they gone yet? Oh, that's right. You told them not to leave.
They're still here, Brandon.
Fuck. Fucking hell. All right. Well, we can keep talking.
Guys, I got to level with you. Got really rattled by that dude who was being very rude. But I'm going to tell you why I got rattled, okay? Because as it goes, and you guys have been along with this journey with us for a long time, we're relatively new to this Twitch thing, and some dude starts talking wise in the chat, and I'm trying to produce a show here, right? But I was like, I gotta shut this guy up. So I quickly click in the chat to try to mute him, and I click the button, and I go back to the conversation, and then I realize I didn't mute him. I accidentally made him a mod.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh, like it took me a good couple minutes to realize it, and I was like, no, unmod this guy and mute him. So,
that's why you got distracted right there.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, not only did I not shut him up, but I gave him power.
when you did that, but when you had started to do that, I had already blocked him from Restream, and I'd already blocked him from Twitch, and
Okay.
so you have you doing anything to him, it yeah,
It probably didn't. Yeah, but here's what we need. I think this is something. It's important for us to learn.
Message deleted. You can't see it. Message deleted.
Awesome.
Because I blocked it.
Thank you.
Out of that dude.
First off, Tampa Geek, thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you for following us. Appreciate you having you here tonight. Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you for being here.
Boobers. I'm seeing all the boobers comments.
We might need some mods. Because the reality is, when Brandon and I are doing the show, when we're doing Apathetic Enthusiasm, we are like hanging out with you guys. We're focused on the chat. We're really focused on that stuff happening. I mean, for the most part, we like having the conversation with the guys that are here live and gals. But especially as we start getting full speed back into these interdimensional RSS episodes, we're not always going to have our eyes on everything that's going on in the chat. So if you are interested in being a mod for our chat, some of you guys, some of you loyal fans, the subs that have been here week in and week out, hit us up, let us know, like, and maybe we can make that happen. Not a commitment on your part, like if you can't do it, but if you're going to be watching anyway and maybe just want to be like, hey, I can also block people or kick people for you if they're being jerks. Yeah, let us know. Like, I mean, I don't want to moderate our chat to the point where like people can't say what's on their mind, but if they're just gonna come in here and spam and troll us, we ain't got time for that. Nobody, everybody's welcome here. No bullies.
I mean, what an asshole, you know. But when I saw him spamming different letters to spell a word, I'm like, oh, he's gonna spell that word. But then he spells the word wrong. I'm like, well, no, I can't take him even serious as a troll. Like, you know, if you're gonna do stuff like that,
maybe he's the guy that worked on that animated thing, and he was mad that you're giving him a hard time for not being able to spell on his title card.
Oh, you give me shit for not being able to sound like Rick, huh? I can't sound like Rick. I can't sound like Morty. Oh, I'll show you. GETS. F you, man. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't as distracting for me as it maybe was for you and the folks in the chat necessarily. Because I don't know.
The main distraction is because I was like, well, and the problem was like my chat window was skinny. So like when I clicked on his name, like the window was popped up over the chat, so I couldn't exit out of it, and I had to like adjust the window to exit out of it. But it was when I was like, oh, just click this block guy, and then I realized I clicked the wrong button. He's a mod. That's when I was like, oh crap. And that was distracting to me because then I went through my head. I was like, well, what kind of power did I give him? What can he actually do? He can only really just shut up other people. No, it's probably fine. But yeah, you know, we're getting back into the swing of it. We're getting back into the interdimensional swing of it.
Well, this is one thing I can say for my brothers and sisters in the subreddit. When the show starts coming back, that's when there's attention on the show again. That's when people who were fans of the show at one point in time, uh, but they also just want to be dicks. That's when they just come out of the woodwork and start start trolling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But so it's no matter to me. Like I told Philip Marks in chat, he can come back someday. I'd be cool with him. He just wants to be loved. That's the thing. I've interacted with trolls before, and I just kill them with kindness. That's what I've always said. I've always, me, I've always said that to people.
yeah, yeah.
The first time I met you on the job, I went up to you. I said, "Hey, I'm Brandon. Kill him with kindness."
I know you just want to be loved.
I know.
And then he was like,
and our boss like, "Oh, hey, Brandon, come on.
gotta wait till after hours for that.
You can kill him with kindness, but you got to hold off on the love."
Yep.
Bob Carroll.
Good old Bob Carroll. OG fan of the show. Doesn't not a listener anymore. But yeah, no, this is fun.
Tampa Geek is asking, "What's up with the creepy Muppet pillow?"
Okay, so you missed the opening act for this evening, which was Apathetic Enthusiasm, our flagship podcast. And in the month of April, Brandon and I, decided to try our hand at making our own puppets, and they were debuted earlier tonight. And they got names. What is the name of yours?
It's Rusty Schmeckelford.
Yeah, Rusty Schmeckelford. And this is Creepy Frank. Hey, I'm Creepy Frank. Yeah. So we made puppets tonight. We're just showing them off.
Showing them off to those whom we love and
Creepy
share.
Frank has more hair than me, though.
Yeah.
I should have just kept it for myself.
You should have. And of course, Rusty Schmeckelford, the trucker.
Rusty's mustache gets caught in his mouth a lot, I think.
Yeah, it does. It's supposed to hang down,
Yeah.
It's supposed to hang down.
It's fun having fun, right, guys?
Yeah. So that's what you missed in the first hour of the show. So this is great. This is great. This is fun times.
How's everybody doing? How's everybody holding up? We didn't do the post show hangout quite as much for Apathetic Enthusiasm. How are you guys doing? Are you guys still working? Are you quarantined? Are you going stir crazy? Are you opening up that economy and headed back to work? What does life look like for you guys?
Well, my route delivering Budweiser to the local stores, it's not too bad. Lots more people are buying Budweiser nowadays. Yeah.
Brandon keeps them says they're doing good, but they don't have enough stream points, and still want to know if Brandon can talk like your dog.
The only reason I'm doing this, I'll tell you, the only reason I'm going to do this is because Keep 'em Sep is my brother. Basically, half of my family is
watching right now.
My mom coming in, love you, Mom, coming in, watching on YouTube, and then pointing out that I like boobs and my nickname was Boobers as a kid. And then
wait, as a kid, your nickname was Boobers?
Yeah.
How long have we been doing this? How long have we been friends? And I've never heard this before.
It wasn't a long-term nickname. My mom also dressed me up as a girl, and then I was an Oktoberfest baby. Look, it doesn't matter if Mom, you're listening. You know, I have problems. Okay, therapy's not covering. No, but when I was a kid, I really liked boobs. I guess my mom's boobs.
When you were a kid,
yeah. Boobers. these are the things that on the after hours show you really get to
tell your friends, guys. Tell them you like the podcast. You should be at the after show.
Yeah.
It's
My God, it gets crazy.
Gets crazy.
It gets crazy. Brandon's mom breasts.
Yep. Good old boobers. Good old boobers cruise.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay.
All the lighting, I'm completely red. It's just hot in here.
It's just hot.
It's really hot.
Summer's on the way.
Yep.
I fixed my grill today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It didn't work for a year, and then I replaced the intake tube from the propane, like the regulator.
Is that why you
Start
had
right up.
Creepy Frank talk about his grill earlier?
Yeah, because it was you talk about what you know, right? You what is it?
Talk about what you know. Don't talk about what other people know.
Yeah, exactly. So I talked about fixing that regulator. I also put a new flag on my mailbox. You're welcome. Hopefully the U.S. Postal Service is around long enough to appreciate it. People call me Squeeze. If you guys were friends, Boobers and Squeeze might have been an odd couple.
Boobers and Rusty Schmeckelford going on the road. Philip Mars. This is great. I'm so glad I brought that out into the world. And thank you, Mom, for bringing me into this world to share this joy with others.
It's good stuff. It's good.
You know, since my mom's out here watching, I should just get all the embarrassing stories out to all the important people right away. We're at Knott's Berry Farm in California, and I was like 4 years old, and we're walking to, I think it was like Montezuma's Revenge, whatever ride it was, and I got like a 4-year-old erection, right? And I was like, I couldn't, it wouldn't go away, and so I just started punching my dick. I just like pee go down, just yelling it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm like, because it wouldn't go away, man. Like my
So you were punching it?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Pee go down, and and maybe that's more embarrassing for my mom than it is for me. But
yeah, I mean, you were just a kid.
I'm just a kid, a
kid with a rock hard schlong.
Anyways, that's why I had to get in vitro to have a son.
Because you punched yourself too many times. You punished yourself into a erectile dysfunction. And then Dad said, "Stop touching it." Thanks. Keep them sep. Keep a sem. Keep some. It says keeps them.
Yeah, no, that's keep them sep. Well, it's keep them separated.
Keeps them.
Brett's band is Offspring. So if you go anywhere, look for Keep 'em Sep, and you'll find the youngest cruise boy.
The first and only time
golf ball go down the hole
I ever crowd surfed was at an Offspring concert.
Really?
Yeah. So I was at an Offspring show in San Diego, open air theater. I want to say that it was like one of those like rock station concerts where they had tons of bands, and we got like cheaper seats up at the top, but then like people kept sneaking down to the pit, and so by the time Offspring came out, they were like, you know what, if you guys are safe, just everybody that wants to come down. So I'm like at the back of this massive crowd, but I'm like late teens and like maybe 160 pounds soaking wet. And so my buddy's like, you should go up. And he just lifts me up, and I crowd surfed all the way to the front of the crowd and right over the barrier at the front where all the security was standing. And so they're just like, go that way. And so then I had to like do the walk of shame around the front of the stage. And then I went to the back, and then I saw my friend again. He's like, "You're going back up." And so they lifted me back up, and like I was fine. My wallet wasn't taken, but at that time I was put down like 3 people from the front, and yeah, that was a really great show. Gotta love Offspring. Good stuff.
If those guards catch you and they recognize you, then they'll actually just kick your ass out.
Yeah,
Just kick your ass out. The only time I've crowd surfed was in Biloxi, Mississippi, for a band I don't even remember.
Go to bed. Keep them set.
Oh, Brett. Oh, little baby Brett. Oh, little baby brother. Oh, you gotta go to sleep. Oh, you gotta go to sleep. Naughty night, little baby. Mama tuck you in. Mama draw you a bath and you go to bed.
This turned into cruise family time. It's good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, crowd surfing in Biloxi. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird sensation. Having everybody, a bunch of sweaty strangers touching your backside.
There was on XM radio on the Lithium channel. There was an interview with Kurt Cobain that they were putting on there, and it was about him crowd surfing, and he was saying that when he was alive, that eventually he probably wouldn't do it anymore, because at first when the crowds are smaller it was okay, but as the crowds got bigger it was a weird feeling, because they would start like rifling through his pockets and doing whatever they could to grab a piece of him.
Yeah.
And it probably not something I'll be doing forever. How right he was. How right he was.
Too soon, Brandon. Too soon. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. But I was listening to a live recording of a concert today while I was running, and it made me realize how much I miss seeing live music, and being at concerts, and how that probably won't be something I get to do for a long time still. Yeah.
What is the last concert you saw?
The last concert I saw.
Because now you miss concerts because you can't go to any. But when is the last time you actually went to?
Well, I had tickets for a concert for the week.
Doesn't count. You didn't go.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Doesn't count. You didn't go.
I don't know. I live in a place where most of the concerts that come through here are either really big names, and I don't want to spend the money to see a lot of them, or I let my wife go instead. So she has been to see the Jonas Brothers and the Backstreet Boys in the last year, and I happily stayed home and let her go to those shows and take my oldest daughter. But yeah, I don't know the last concert I went to. It might have been in Hawaii. That can't be true. I had to have gone to one here. I don't know.
Huh.
But that's the thing is, yeah, you can talk crap all you want about me not going to concerts and then quarantine making me miss it. I don't think it was the quarantine that made me miss it. It was listening to this particular band and their live show and hearing the crowd singing along, and just sort of the different vibe at a live show where the songs sound a little bit different. It's not as polished, but there's more energy in a set when it's done really well. And it's been a long time, but I definitely realized, wow, I should go see more live concerts when I have the opportunity.
What band was it?
Reliant K. They are a pop punk.
Yeah, I was gonna say
band.
MXPX is what I was gonna say initially.
No, I was never a huge MXPX fan, but I've I've seen Reliant K in concert many a time. So that was the other part, is a band that I've seen in concert and then listening to them live, and I was like, oh yeah, that's fun. Good night, Mrs. Cruz.
Mrs. Cruz. I mean, my mom. I mean, mom.
Mom. Can I call you mom?
Can I call you mom? Yeah, the last concert I was going to go see, which doesn't count as I just told you, but this isn't because I had tickets. It was Face to Face. Face to Face came out to Tampa, and I was in a particularly social anxiety way that day. I was supposed to go with like a couple different other people, and then they all started like dwindling and canceling one by one, and because of that, then I was less likely to go, and I was like, okay, I'm not going. And then that was just kind of exacerbated by the month before that. I went to see Bad Religion on by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna go see them no matter what. I'm gonna go see them, and even heading to that concert to see Bad Religion, driving by myself, I was like, I could just turn around. I should just turn around. I'm like driving to St. Pete. I could turn around. It's fine. It's fine. I did. Oh, there's storm clouds. It's outside. It's enough reason for me to go.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I'm so glad that I went, but I couldn't overcome that for Face to Face that time.
Yeah, I will say with the whole coronavirus thing, like, and it's something I think about when I'm out running and when I'm not stuck in the house, but like I hope that coming out of this I appreciate things like travel, live events, those sorts of things. I hope I appreciate them more and take more opportunities to take advantage of them. Because yeah, I mean, I like being at home, but like there's something to be said for getting out in the world, going and seeing things and doing things, and you miss it a little bit more when it's not an option for you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean that's true. We've talked about like I don't need to go places. I like staying at home. I don't want to go on adventures. But when I
At
can't
all.
but when I can't go on adventures, that's when I'm like, I really want to go on an adventure.
Adventure, haha. No basil, no oregano. I don't smoke any herbs. Straight edge, you know.
Straight,
So
straight edge for life. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as I
Uh,
have like a platter of alcohol right here, but
I think I saw the I'd heard the term. By the way, yeah, I don't smoke either. Um, but the first time I heard the term straight edge, for a long time, I just kind of always thought that it was just like you're under 21, so you can't drink.
yeah,
And then when I turned 18, I moved away from California, and I was living in Arkansas, and I was hanging out with folks, and we went to a Fugazi concert. Uh, Ian McKay, Minor Threat, Fugazi, and he's big on straight edge, but going to that concert and then like them talking about my buddies talking about Ian McKay and what straight edge actually was, and I was like, oh, okay, because I always associated like the black X on the hand because you go to a show and it's like you can't
yeah,
drink,
yeah.
so straight edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's like no drugs. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I learned about straight edge because I worked a job in high school and after high school doing little league photography, and all the high schoolers that worked for me on the cruise would show up like early Saturday and Sunday mornings with X's on their hands, and I'd be
Yeah,
like, why do you have Sharpie on your hand? What the heck? And then we would use Sharpies on the job, and they'd draw them like I'm like, come on, just take the pictures. Stop drawing it yourself. Good times. Good times.
Good times.
How them turnips, Brandon?
Yeah, let's change.
Let's check in real quick with
Turnip minute.
let's check in real quick with Creepy Frank for a turnip update. Oh, hey everybody, I'm Creepy Frank. Turnips are down. We had a interesting Sunday. Brandon did not remember to buy his turnips, so he had Travis buy 100,000 bells worth of turnips for him. Those turnips are still in Travis's bedroom in Animal Crossing. Will Brandon pay? We don't know.
I'll pay when we make a massive profit, or I find somebody who's like who's selling turnips for like 500.
You're teleworking this week, so I need you to. I'm trending a fluctuating pattern this week. So if you have even a small spike, you got to track that stuff for me, bro.
You got it. I just
turnips.
turn up for what? I mentioned at the end of Interdimensional RSS about Joe Bob Briggs and him sending me an email and all that type of stuff and support. But that was leading into Last Drive-In season 2 on Shudder. The basically him horror hosting a double feature of horror films from the 70s, 80s. Generally not super well known films. Some very exploitation films. The first movie he showed last week was Chopping Mall, and good portion of boobs in there. It's a good movie. It's funny. It was actually originally called Killbots, which I guess my father-in-law worked on. Mitch worked on that movie for a bit, whatever. But the second movie that he showed, by the way, my son, 8 years old, I don't mind him watching horror films with us. It for the most part, like we have him shut his eyes for boob parts and any kind of sex parts and stuff like that. Blood, it's fine. We're American. We can deal with that. But the second film was a movie called Blood-Sucking Freaks, which I had never seen. And it was bought by Lloyd Kaufman, who owns the Trauma production studios. And I don't know if you know anything about Trauma, Travis, but Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, very, very raucous and wild and inappropriate films. Anyways, Blood-Sucking Freaks is part of that genre of film. And when Joe Bob, whenever he's introducing a film, he goes through his tallies of all the stuff that's going on in the movie, and it said like 78 boobs, like this movie, which is like 2 hours long, 78 boobs, lots of sex, a midget having sex with a decapitated head, stuff like that, and I was like, I got to draw the line somewhere.
All right, I'm gonna put my parenting pants on this time.
I gotta. We can't do this. So Chelsea took him to bed, and I watched like the first 5-10 minutes of it, and it was like a naked woman with a candle burning on her back, and then, which doesn't sound that bad, but it just got worse from there. And I was playing Sea of Thieves or something with Aaron, Jimmy, and Matt. And every time I looked, I kept it open because I want to support, and so I want to make sure I keep streaming regardless. And every time I look over at the Mac to what was happening on Shudder and Blood-Sucking Freaks, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" There's a chick gets decapitated, and a little person like has sex with a decapitated head. I probably won't ever watch this movie again. Yeah. It's very, very, very bad.
Sayerdar, critiquing your pronunciation. It's Trauma, long O sound. Trauma films, notorious for nudity. Lloyd loves the ladies.
Yes, he does. Trauma. By the way, Sire, if you if you go on Shudder, there's a good series called Cursed Films. It for the most part, it's a good series. It talks about cursed horror films. They've had Exorcist on there, Twilight Zone movie. Let's see, The Omen, a couple others that I can't. A Poltergeist, and two others. Fairly good. Sometimes they get off on like wild tangents that have nothing to do with curse. But I bring that up because Lloyd Kaufman is on one of them uh, talking about the Twilight Zone movie. Because I don't know if you know this about the Twilight Zone movie, Travis. Vic Morrow was killed on the set of the Twilight Zone movie, along with two kids under the age of 12 years old, um, on camera from a stunt that went wrong. Basically, they're in the jungle, and Vic Morrow is holding these two kids underneath his arm, and it's like in Vietnam, and basically a bunch of explosions make the helicopter go out of control, and yeah, it does that.
Wow.
But yeah, like it talks all about that, and
And that's in the film. Like they show that scene.
They don't.
In the film?
No, they don't show it. They don't show that scene in the film. They did a lot of editing around. They changed some of the storyline to where that wasn't on the film. But they do actually have footage of that happening.
Jeez.
But anyways, that's just side stuff. That Cursed Films is a good series. Talk about like Poltergeist and like the little girl and just a bunch of other stuff. It's interesting stuff.
Crazy stuff. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier when you actually did it, but D Squeeze, thank you for renewing your sub. I don't know if we said that during the show earlier, but you're the real MVP, along with the rest of you that are subscribing too. You guys are cool too. We need to come up with a cool like group name or team name for our subscribers.
Yeah, group.
Glip glops.
No.
That's the name of my island in Animal Crossing, guys. Is Glip Glop.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're not telling me.
Yeah.
That's the other one. Yeah, thanks. That's the other one. Sire Dark is the Crow. They talk about the Crow as well. They talk about the whole thing that that led up to Brandon Lee's death, and they talk about like, and I'm sure you know this, how Brandon Lee died. What like, for a long time I thought it was just like a squib that was flipped the wrong way, because a squib is supposed to shoot out, and instead I thought it shot in. That's what killed him. But they explain it how like even though it was a blank, a piece got lodged within the barrel, and so when the other blank shot, then it actually pushed that piece of metal out and basically killed him that way.
Yeah.
But they talked to people who were in there, and you know what it meant to them, and you know, in a non-exploitation way, talk just very, even though it's called Cursed Films, they talk about it in a very matter-of-fact way. With the exception of The Omen, they bring in like a random like a random dude who's like, yeah, I'm into black magic and watch me do a thing. But they juxtapose that with Michael Shermer, who is a skeptic, who there's this. He's like, look, we're talking about cursed films. We just happen to be talking about horror films. But here's the thing: is like, we're talking about cursed films for horror films. But what you have to realize is, here, take this. Here's a horror film that something bad has happened, and you call this cursed. But what about all these other horror films that nothing bad has ever happened, that talk about the same kind of stuff? Now let's also take films that are about nothing about horror,
unicorns and rainbows, and someone still gets killed or hurt.
I don't. We're not looking at that. And now you have this other one where nothing bad happens at all, and it's just whatever. And he shows this. I'll spoil it because I don't think a lot of people will watch this, but there's this video where he's like, here's what I want you to do. I want these people are playing basketball. They're passing this basketball to each other, and there's two different teams. There's a team that they have white jerseys. You have a team that has black jerseys on. Count how many times the ball gets passed between the white jerseys, and then they show the clip of this basketball, and they're like all kind of like crowding each other. There's about 10, 15 of them, right? And you're like, okay, oh yeah, I think it's about like 15 times. I think they passed it to each other about 15 times or so. Michael Shermer comes back on. He's like, now, did you notice the gorilla walking through the scene? And sure enough, you go back and you watch it, and as you're paying attention to the ball being passed between the white jersey team, there's a guy in a gorilla costume, unimpeded, walking through and like kind of dancing. He does like a little jig in front of you, and he walks off. And the point is, you're looking for things, and while you're looking for things, you're so focused on one thing, you're missing all this other stuff. I think it's a great thought exercise.
It is. It is. I've seen that several times. It's a good one.
And I bored
and that's a pecan sandy.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think after 2 solid hours plus a post show of podcasting, I think it's about time for us to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for keeping it clean in the chat. And we'll be back next week with Interdimensional RSS. The real thing. We're gonna be watching some Rick and Morty, you guys. It's back. So get ready for that. Excited. Tell your friends. Tell people you know. If you think they would enjoy this sort of thing, let them. Oh, you want to raid? You want to raid with our 5 folks?
For a second, I thought you were talking about the raid 1 or 2, by Gareth.
Oh, Vestlord is live right now. Shall we raid the old Vestlord?
Yeah. Yay. We haven't raided old Dean in a long time.
Dean. All right, guys. So if you're on Twitch, get ready to raid. Go show your love over to Dean, the Vestlord. We go way back to our early Geekade days, right when we were starting the podcast. So he's always playing like cool retro games. I think he's playing Pokemon tonight. Pokemon Emerald. So show him some love, and we will see you guys next week to talk about Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
So here we go with the raid.
Here we go. Raid. Unless you're on YouTube. Bye.
Get ready. In 5, 4, 3, 2, bye.
Bye.
I always forget to hit raid now.
and
we have raided our boy Vestlord.
And now we're just on with our YouTube friends. Look, you're getting exclusive content here. Ask away. Just kidding. We're gonna leave because I gotta get up early. Got telework to do.
I like how Alex Richmond just raids and then spams my face emojis. So good. Apparently, apparently something good happened in his game just as we raided. That or he's getting ready to quit. One of the two. But we're gonna end our stream. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you guys so much for watching. Really, you should watch on Twitch if you wanna raid with us. But always come back to YouTube for the post shows. And we will talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. Hey, see you later.
You asked.